What do you think? Do you think there's any truth for one teacher to have the reputation as a hard grader and another teacher who taught the exact same subject to be an easier grader? Today, we're going to be looking at Chapter 4, Grading for Equity. Traditional grade hides information, invites bias, and provides misleading information from the Feldman text. That actually made me think about my Asian American experience, this misinterpretation, right? And the topic I want to talk about is actually eye contact. So when I was in school, my teachers would say, hey, when you're talking to somebody, you want to definitely look at them in the eyes, right? And so, I was practicing that, trying that. And then when I got home, I remember look at my parents in the eyes when they were talking to me and giving me advice directly in the eyes, right? And then what they told me was, hey, don't look at me directly in the eyes when I'm talking to you. Some mixed messages, right? I've actually shared this story when talking about PVLEGS. I have a video on that, but it talks about poise, voice, life, eye contact, gestures, and speed. And this is not something I grew up with or learned growing up, but I think this telling of my story of kind of some confusion I had as a young person maybe helps other students also navigate their own culture well. I'm wondering if the telling of our stories helps to reduce bias. Anyways, let's get to talking about grades. Teachers definitely know a lot about their students, but when it comes to grading, it all comes down and gets distilled oftentimes into a singular letter. Now, we'll talk about whether that's a good or a bad in maybe future episodes, but that's kind of the situation right now, right? So in Feldman's text, he gives a case of two students, Tangela and Isabel. We're going to focus on Isabel at this time. And let me move this over here so that you can see this a little bit better. So let's say Isabella could have two different teachers, either Mrs. Jones or Miss Lopez, Miss Jones or Miss Lopez. So in Miss Jones's class, basically homework is worth 30%, tests and projects are worth 40%, class activities are worth 20%, and participation is worth 10%, right? This might be, if you were to look at this, you might think, yeah, I know a lot of classrooms that have this kind of category weight to assignments that are given in class. And so let's go back to that student, Isabel, and talk about what grade she got on those different things. So she got let's say 60% on the homework. Maybe in her situation, Isabel's homework, there's a lot of things going on when she gets home, things that she has to be a part of. Maybe her parents can't do the homework for her, right? So anyways, for whatever reason, the homework score is low. But whenever she does projects or tests, look at this. She's getting 95%, which is really showing that she knows the material. She knows the material very well, in fact, that she's getting 95% on the test. There's also some classwork there. Maybe it's engaging, not engaging for Isabel. She's scoring a 70%. And once again, that participation, which is worth 10%, she's getting 60% in that area. And once again, maybe it's one of those misunderstandings where it looks like Isabel isn't participating. It looks like she's not engaged, but she might very well be. I had a situation where one of my daughters, she was kind of doodling as I was talking. And I thought in my mind, I don't think she's paying attention. But when I asked her to summarize what we were talking about, I mean, all the points. She knew all the points. And I realized, that's just a way for her to kind of just actually focus in on what's being said. That's a surprise to me because my brain maybe doesn't work that way, but that doesn't mean someone else's brain can't work that way. Okay, well, anyways, let's take a look at Miss Lopez's class here. And as you see in Miss Lopez's class, same categories, right? Nothing's different here. Homework, tests, classes, participation, same thing. Isabel is the same student, right? But the category weight is different. Homework is worth 5%. Tests and projects are worth 85%. Class activities are worth 5%, and participation is worth 5%. So you can see the focus is on tests and projects. So rather than 40%, as in Miss Jones's class, you see tests and projects worth the majority. It's like it's like putting a lot of weight on the summative assessment, right? Homework is 5%, so it's mainly formative and supportive, right? If it's only 5%, class activities are 5% and participation is only 5%. So let's say Isabel once again scores exactly the same in Ms. Lopez's class on all these measures. Homework, 60%, tests and projects, 95%, class activities, 70%, and participation, 60%. What kind of grade would she get? She would get a 91% in this class. Same class, right, in terms of the content, same grading, same categories, but you just change the percentages, and in one class she's getting a 76%, in another class she's getting a 91%. So what do you guys think? You guys think there's some truth for that reputation as a teacher being a hard grader or an easy grader? What are your thoughts on that? Well, anyways, I do want to talk about the confusion that students might have. So, once students start entering middle school and high school, they're not just going to have one teacher. They're going to not just have two, but they could have 6 teachers, sometimes more than 6 teachers, 7 teachers. And so let's say each teacher then has a different system of grading. Let's say it's not even these same categories, like different categories, different percentages, each class different. Can you imagine how challenging and difficult it would be to figure things out as an adult, much less as a middle school or high school student? Let me go ahead and read this from page 55. Every teacher, this is a quote from a student, right? Every teacher has their own way of grading, which I think is confusing to the students. When you first change classes, you don't know how that teacher is going to grade the homework, so you don't really know how to do it. Some teachers, they don't grade it at all. They just look at it and say, oh, you tried 100%. And then other teachers are just, no, you have to get this answer exactly right or you're not going to get the points. It's really confusing because you don't know how it's going to be. My sister is a teacher, so I try to talk to her about this kind of stuff all the time. And she's usually confused by it a lot as well. And she's 28. It's a funny story, but kind of a sad situation at the same time. So anyways, just kind of reflecting on this chapter makes me think how I want to make more clear the grading for students, how I definitely want to have summative assessments in my class, and for me to be that facilitator or guide on that side, that coach supporting my students towards success all along the way, and not like nitpicking on little points here and there that may not really connect with that summative assessment, which is really showing what a student knows. And I think that could be a good first step for me to think about this. I actually have this class where I have a 10% participation grade, and I'm thinking next semester if I teach that class again, removing it. So anyways, did this video help you think about reducing bias in your grading, or make you think about some confusing practices that potentially could exist in grading? If so, then go ahead and give a thumbs up. And if you like talking about grading for equity, go ahead and make sure you subscribe. Also, there's all kinds of other videos coming out related to project-based learning, the 5 C's, culturally relevant practices, civic learning and engagement, and more. This is Dr. Jeff from Med Family signing out.